Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here, along with head coach Scott Langer. And coach, a little different circumstances for Wings Weekly this week. We don't have any games to talk about. Obviously, inclement weather forcing the cancellation of the trip to Minot. Bismarck also had some trouble. They weren't able to get over to St. Cloud, so a big snowstorm, early snowstorm, created problems for traveling for this area of junior hockey. So, Coach, I thought maybe what we do is talk a little bit about the weeks of practice. Last week, of course, you're preparing for Minot. Now you shift gears and are looking forward to going up to Cloquet and facing the Wilderness. How are things shaping up practice-wise?
Well, good. And we got canceled there on Friday. We were able to practice, which was good. I thought our week of practice last week just continued to get better each day, and I thought it was going to be a really good weekend heading into Minot. And obviously, you can't do much about the weather. It's been I don't remember ever having to cancel a hockey game in my career. So, but you know what? It could be a blessing as well, as far as giving your guys a very odd weekend off and letting their bodies heal a little bit. And we shift gears this week and have to play a team on an Olympic ice surface that I think they've won 7 out of 11 games, and they play really well at home. So they're I'll say they're a real different looking team, the Wilderness, and they got good depth on their team, and we're going to have another good week of practice.
Well, as you mentioned, Wilderness 7-4, top of the division. Of course, again, a couple of the, 4 of the teams in the division didn't get to play this weekend. So, but anyway, you mentioned it, and we've talked about it in years past too. But the bigger sheet of ice creates some issues and opens some things up for some guys too. But each year, the first trip over there, or maybe even the first couple of times that new guys have played on that ice, it takes a little getting used to, doesn't it?
Well, it does. You have to go that extra distance to work in coverage and to limit their space and time. And it could be good as well for your guys that if you're able to make plays and utilize the width of the rink, it could be positive. But they practice on it every day, so they're geared towards it mentally. They're used to going the extra dimensions and in order to cover more ice. So, it's always an advantage for them going in there, especially the first game, and our guys getting acclimated.
Absolutely. Well, what have you seen? I guess in a sense, you get a little extra time kind of to scout or watch film on the Wilderness with the way things shook out over the weekend. What have you seen from them?
Well, they got good skill. They skate well. They have good skill. They have a veteran goaltender in there, and Johnson. Coach Valancourt, I thought, has done a really good job of shaping his roster. He's made quite a few changes early to get the depth that he needs, and obviously it's paid off early. With them finding ways. The big thing you look at with the Wilderness is they've been down a few times, and they've figured out a way to battle back. They have some battle in their game, and they're going to fight you for 60 minutes. So it's going to be one of those weekends where you really have to play the full game.
Okay. We talked at the start of the show a little bit about the week of practice, and I wanted to kind of touch on guys that put that extra effort in practice. And you mentioned last week that you felt like it was a good week of practice, and going into Minot had a good feeling. That's part of the culture of the Wings too, isn't it? That you got to put as much effort into practice as you do into games, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it just translates. I don't think there's any other way. I don't think you can have a okay week of practice and expect to have a pretty good weekend. It's just at this level, the preparation is so important, and also the confidence factor. When you're doing things well and doing things right through the course of the week, and you're doing them at a good pace, that goes right into the weekend. And we like to up our practice every single day and just continue to get better and build that energy right into the weekend.
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, it's not common that games get canceled like that. How does it get rescheduled or postponed? Obviously, we're going to have to make that game up at some point, but it's not just that easy as coming up with a date and saying that's when we're going to do it. It's got to work for everybody, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing there is, Minot has to find the ice for those home games, and they did that. And, one of them is on January 14th, and the other one's going to be February 12th. And that's going to make for a long week for us because we go from Minot right to the Minnesota Wilderness. So, but like I said, there's not a whole lot you can do. It adds another 1 day up and back, which is a tough trip to Minot, going on the road for one game and going that distance. So, but like I said, you can't control the weather and the amount of roads that were closed down. And we've always been able to get to our locations, and this was just a rare thing in October.
Well, and certainly, as I know was put out both on Minot and Aberdeen's social media pages and so on, that the player safety and staff safety, that's the first and foremost concern too. So no sense in taking unnecessary chances. And we'll get those dates for those makeup games out again to everybody too. So, all right, well, Coach, I don't have a whole lot else for you. We've got a player that's going to be joining me in the second portion. So for the first time this year, we'll get a chance to talk to one of the new faces of the Aberdeen Wings. But again, Coach, thanks for taking some time to talk to us here a little bit on Wings Weekly, and good luck up in Cloquet.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break here and hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be back after this. Welcome back as we continue on with Wings Weekly. And as I promised, player joining me here, and now, Jake Seibel joins us. What, is it Jake or Jacob? I've seen it both ways.
Legally Jacob.
Okay.
But Jake is fine too.
Okay. Well, Jake Seibel, of course, goaltender for the Aberdeen Wings, joining me. Well, let's start with the weekend. Kind of weird, huh?
Yeah, it was really weird.
I was just talking with Coach Langer. Like, he couldn't remember ever having games canceled in his career. It's a rarity for sure. What did you guys end up doing with the extra time?
Just taking care of our bodies, resting up, and hanging out with the boys sometimes. Just rest a lot.
Yeah. Well, like Coach said, in some senses, it could be a little bit of a blessing because you do get that extra time to kind of recover early in the season. So I wouldn't think there'd be too many bumps and bruises just yet, as there are later on in the season, but still get a chance to get a little extra recovery. Yeah. How did you get started in hockey? At what age did you first start skating, and maybe who were some of your influences? Did you have an older brother, for example, that played, or how did it work out for you?
Yeah, my entire family played. I have two older brothers that played, and I always loved it. I always loved watching them. And we had a backyard rink at my house in Minnesota, so I just started skating when I was around 4. Just skated out in that outdoor rink, and then real hockey around 5, and then just kept going from there. Okay. Started goalie when I was about 10, but other than that.
What drew you to being a goaltender? Was it maybe a need for the team and you said, hey, I'll give it a try, or was it something that you always kind of felt drawn to?
Well, a couple years into my hockey career, I was told I couldn't be a goalie by my coach, so I kind of wanted to do it based off that logic. And I like the mask, the cool mask that you get when you're a goalie. So,
oh, that's good. The equipment always seems to have an appeal to kids for some reason. Yeah. You mentioned having older brothers that played. Talk about your family a little bit, and the influences and so on. Do you have grandparents, for example, that come to a lot of games, and maybe talk about how it was growing up.
Growing up, I always loved watching my older brothers. I'm really tight with my siblings. They were pretty good hockey players. I got to watch them a lot, high school hockey. My dad was the coach as well, so I got to go out and skate with the high schoolers cool. Back in Minnesota. But it was always just watching them, trying to get better, and that's pretty much it, just watching them.
Right on. How did you guys, as a family, do you have any traditions or anything like that when it comes to hockey, or even for that matter, maybe some hobbies or something that you do away from the ice?
Not really. I like to play video games with my brothers, but other than that, they love to come watch me when they can. They were in Blaine for the showcase, but they love to come watch me. They come out to some of the home games, but there's not really any traditions like that.
Right on. Well, and what do you like to do without, like I said, I guess when you're not at practice or not taking, thinking hockey? Do you hunt, for example, fish? Being from Asante, I would imagine there's quite a bit of fishing and stuff.
We do some fishing, but not a big fisherman, not a big hunter. Never really been hunting, actually. I really like to just hang out with the boys when we're not at practice. We go to the Y and play pickleball and play different stuff like that.
Very cool.
And we like to hang out and have some fun. But other than that, Not a big hunter, not a big fisher.
Right on. Not everybody's cup of tea. I know there's some that
Yeah.
are pretty diehard outdoorsmen, but
We have a couple of those on the team.
yeah,
Yeah.
seems like every year there are.
Yeah.
So when you go to the Y, is that like kind of like how they do the floor hockey and stuff, where the Wings are actually participating with other kids and stuff? Or?
When we go by ourselves, it's usually just us. We just
Gotcha.
had a pickleball net set up and we're just playing. I know we do go, I think every Tuesday we have a couple guys go and play floor hockey with the kids, and that's fun.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that throughout the whole year. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's great to, it's one of the things that I feel like that has helped the Wings fan base and everything is because of how active and involved the Wings are in the community. Getting out there and introducing yourselves as the team kind of makes a connection, and then people want to come watch. It's kind of a cool to see some of the community involvement that goes on throughout the year. This is not your first stint in junior hockey. You've played on a handful of different teams. In fact, some in the Central. You played for Blizzard for a little bit in Brookings there, Minot, and the Wilderness, actually.
Yep.
What are your impressions of Aberdeen as a whole, as a town, as a community, I guess? But then also, what are some of the differences between the teams? I mean, obviously the personnel is different, but do the Wings do things a little different?
It's definitely different here. We have a lot of supportive fans, supportive fan base. We got supportive coaching staff. We're all supported here, and it feels really good to be here. It's a really great organization, and we're all happy to be here. Happy for the fans to come out and see us. I love the fans here. It blows me away when we see how many people are there, how loud they get. Back with Minot, they have pretty good fans. It's pretty good supported.
Mm-hmm.
Cloquet had some good fans. I know the Blizzard, it was kind of here and there. But I like those organizations as well. I really like the Wilderness, but it's nothing compared to the Wings, really.
Well, and you kind of touched on it. I think every team has a good fan base and has passionate fans. It is awesome, and it's to see the diehard kind of loyal fans that are here every game. But then also, I love to see the growth and see people who are coming for the first time and getting turned on to the Wings, so to speak. It's pretty cool, and it's great to see that the support across the Central Division and across the North American League as a whole. Really, great to see that support, because that's how it grows. The sport grows, the league, everything. So great. How about again for Aberdeen? I mean, what's Asante? I know I've heard of Asante a handful of times. I know some stock car racers from the area and all that, but never been. What's that? What's Asante like? What's home?
It's probably about similar size to Aberdeen.
Okay.
It's might have a little bit more people. We don't have as many businesses as Aberdeen does, but we have a lot of people that live there, a lot of cornfields. But other than that, it's not a lot different. It's kind of similar, actually.
So not a lot of culture shock for you. Like for some that come from the East Coast or California or something, they're like, what the heck am I getting into? But you're not too terribly far away. So that, I suppose the weather, everything is nothing new to you.
Yeah.
All right, well, Wilderness coming up, the week of practice, we talked with Coach a little bit about what's expected. What do you, as a veteran player who has, as I said, bounced around a little bit and played for some different teams and stuff, what do you see when you look around this locker room as far as chemistry and as far as ability? What is the sky the limits? Is this a team that you think can improve and make another run at the Cup, or do you feel like maybe this is a kind of a growth year that you're seeing? I'm just kind of wanting to pick your brain a little bit.
I think it's kind of surprising how much skill we have in this room.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going to be about getting together. I think we're already a really good group of guys together. When we're around everybody's got a lot of energy most of the time, and we're all together as a team. And I think this is going to be a really good year. We're going to get gelled together even more than we are now, and we're really going to come together and win some games coming up here. It's going to be fun.
Well, that's excellent to see, the improvement in game in and game out. Of course, Henry Welsh is, both of you guys playing the goaltending or playing the same position, who work together. In years past, I've talked with goaltenders who really have a kind of a special bond, so to speak, with the other goaltender, because obviously it's a specialized position. Mm-hmm. Nobody else really understands what you guys go through like somebody else. Do you guys feel like there's a good, healthy competition between the two of you, one of those where maybe it makes you play a little better, kind of pushing each other?
Yeah, there's definitely a good competition there. I love Henry already. We've only spent a couple weekends together, but we're really getting together and competing for each other. During practice, we're always competing no matter what we do. We don't want to be the loser, but it's definitely healthy for us to get better. We're getting a lot better this year just because of us two. pushing ourselves into a
Excellent.
limits.
How much has Josh Aycock, the goalie coach, and in years past, ever since Josh has been around, he's made a big impact and had a big influence, and he's in contact with you guys quite a bit, isn't he?
Yeah. He texts us and calls us almost daily when he's not here, and it really pushes us to keep doing what we're supposed to be doing the extra mile so that we're getting better and playing our game the best we can.
Excellent. All right, well, Jake, I tell you what, I won't keep you here much longer, but I do appreciate you taking some time here to come talk to us a little bit and let the fans kind of get to know you and a little about your background, and look forward to seeing you play throughout the rest of the year, and best of luck against the Wilderness coming up.
Thank you.
All right, well, folks, remember the next games are against the Minnesota Wilderness, that is, on the 18th and 19th of October. Puck drop both nights is scheduled for 7:05 Central. Watch the action at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen or by logging on to hockeytv.com. Listen to 94.1 The Rock, hubcityradio.com, or the Rock app on your mobile device. For all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit aberdeenwings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. The Wings have begun our Day with the Cup promotion. If you advertise with the Wings or have season tickets and you want a business to spend a day with the Cup, or your business, I should say, contact Aaron Smith at 605-380-5852 to schedule. Remaining reserved season tickets and corporate night sponsorships are still available. Call Aaron for that as well. The Wings return to the Odie Friday and Saturday, October 25th and 26th to take on the Wilderness again. Get your tickets at any of the 4 Sea Express locations in Aberdeen or upgrade to reserved by calling Aaron Smith. Don't call Aerosmith, they can't help you, but Aaron Smith can. 605-380-5852. That will pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.